Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting of April 24th, 2025. My name is Vern Crow, and I am the chairperson of the commission. The Planning Commission is a citizens' body appointed by the City Council. The commission is empowered to make final decisions on certain matters, with those being appealable to the city. On other matters, the commission acts in an advisory role to the council, with the council making the final decision. You will have an opportunity to address the commission during the public hearing portion of the meeting. Your testimony is appreciated and encouraged. The commission acts from a written agenda, so you will need to fill out a yellow speaker card and give it to the city staff if you wish to speak on an item. Copies of the agenda and the speaker cards are located on the table just inside the main door to the Civic Center. At this time, please be sure to silence your cell phones. Thank you. There are 7 members appointed to the Planning Commission, and at this time, I will ask the commissioners to introduce themselves and state the district they are representing, starting from my far right, Commissioner Crow.
John Crow, Mayoral District.
Commissioner Cole.
Tom Cole, Barrel District.
Vice Chair Nyberg.
Edwin Nyberg from the Cholla District.
Commissioner Gears.
John Gears from the Ocotillo District.
Commissioner Hooper.
Brian Hooper with Saguaro District.
Commissioner Ariano.
Sergio Ariano with Yucca District.
And I am Vern Crow with Cactus. Let the record show that all the members of the Planning Commission are present this evening. The Planning Commission receives staff assistance and guidance from the Planning Division and the City Attorney's Office. Now I'd like to go on to the approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of March 27th, 2025 Planning Commission's regular meeting?
Chairman, I make a motion to accept the Planning Commission minutes of March 27th.
Thank you, Commissioner Gears. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of March 27th, 2025 Planning Commission's regular meeting as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. Motion carries. Ms. Perry, are there any withdrawals or continuances this evening?
Good evening, Chairperson Crow and Commissioners. There are none.
Thank you, ma'am. As there are none, let's move on to the public hearing items. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak on this item that has not filled out a speaker card, please do so now. The purpose of the public hearing is to provide interested parties an opportunity to present testimony for the Commission's consideration. We will follow the same procedures for each item, and that will be, I will call the application number and the name of the applicant. Staff will present their report and answer questions from the Commission. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation and answer questions from the Commission. Other persons who wish to testify will be asked to do so and answer questions from the Commission. The applicant will have an opportunity for closing comments if needed. Staff will be asked for any final comments on the application and procedural guidance. I will then close the public hearing and ask for a motion prior to further discussion, if any, from the commissioners. Large groups should designate a spokesperson. Applause or other disruptions which delay the hearing will not be tolerated. We will have 3 public hearing items tonight. Our first item is GPA 24-05 and ZON 24-10. Mr. Lerma will present the case.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. Before you are 2 requests. The first request is for a minor general plan amendment to change the property's land use designation from light industrial to high density residential up to 20 dwelling units per the acre and office. The second request is a zoning action to change the property's zoning classification from light industrial, heavy commercial, and multiple residence to planned area development. The 2 requests is in order to allow the development of a veteran small home community with ancillary support services. The project is located approximately 0.8 miles northwest of City Hall. The Site is approximately 10 acres in size and is located on the northwest corner of 63rd Avenue and Grand Avenue. The property is located within the Barrel District. Before you again is the zoning map to the right. The site has multiple zoning classifications. The intent is to remove these multiple zonings and establish one single zoning for the planned area development. Surrounding zonings are going to be similar in nature with light industrial, commercial, and multiple residents. A little bit about the history about the site. The site was previously used for an animal hospital, multiple motels, and a mobile home park. All these uses were eliminated in 2010, and the site has been vacant ever since. Some of the surrounding uses are already established. Most of the surrounding uses are going to be industrial in nature, with exception of the public park to the North Horizon Park, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 1433. The intent of this project is in order to allow small home veteran community with ancillary support services to address the housing initiative for veterans. The project will be providing 50 small site-built homes. 2 of these homes are going to be ADA accessible. 6 of the homes are going to be designated to accommodate families, and the remaining 42 homes are going to be individual units. The 50 homes will be fully functional with full kitchens and bathrooms. The intent of this housing is to allow a transition to these homeless veterans, to provide them stability, and in order for them to move on to more of a permanent independent housing. The second feature for this project is going to be what's called the Village Center. But before we get there, before you are conceptual elevations of the 50 homes. As you can see, there's multiple designs for the homes, and all these homes are going to have different colors. There's 5 colors associated with the homes. The 5 colors are a representation of the 5 branches of the military. Before you is the second element of this project, which is the Village Center. The Village Center is going to be assigned as a commercial building to focus on the needs of the veterans that are going to be housed within this project. The Veteran Center will include offices for support staff, community meeting spaces, mailboxes, counseling, training rooms, and other necessary amenities. The Village Center will be staffed by 50 employees, and the on-site services are going to be exclusively for those veterans that are housed on site. These services are not going to be available to the general public. Site access is going to be proposed along 63rd Avenue with 2 points of access. Before you is a rendering. This is an eagle eye view looking at the property from the north portion of the property, looking southbound. The applicant has completed the citizens outreach process. A neighborhood meeting was conducted on September 25th, 2024. At said meeting, there were 14 participants. All the feedback that the applicant received was positive in nature. There were no issues that were raised at said meeting. The citizens participation funnel report is included within the commission staff report, the commission's packet. My apologies. Staff has concluded the review of this project and has made the final analysis. The PD serves as a tool to accommodate unique mixed-use projects by providing housing and support services in one location as a response to the need of homeless veterans. The overall approach to the design of the site is to provide functionality and connectivity with different areas, both internally and externally to the project. In total, 50 homes will be developed to accommodate veterans in different circumstances. Building elevations are proposed to be 1 story. The layout of the homes are trauma-informed, meaning that they take into consideration the need of veterans who often suffer from PTSD and hypervigilance. Access points and windows are intentionally placed to avoid sightline conflicts. Homes are standalone to avoid unsettling noises throughout the walls for adjacent units to provide the best privacy and security for those residing on site. Based on the unique nature of this project, the PED will provide the needed flexibility to establish the design and development standards, which would be a challenge if trying to establish this type of use within one of our standard zoning districts. This infill project will provide for a small home community with high standard building design with durable materials appropriate for the desert climate. The property is an area where adequate utilities are available. Both water and wastewater are available along 63rd Avenue. Through the submittal, no traffic impact analysis was required by the Transportation Department. Once development starts on the site or prior to development to the site, the project will need to go through a design review process, at which point staff will review the application and determine if what on-site improvements will be required. The project meets several of the goals and policies of the general plan, including developing safe, well-built, attractive housing and adding variety to the neighborhoods, thereby serving as a catalyst to the improvements of the surrounding neighbors. With this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to City Council for GPA 24-05 as written, and for ZON 2410 with the following stipulations. Stipulation number 1, development shall be in substantial conformance with the Veterans Community Project Planned Area Development Narrative. Final date stamp March 20th, 2025. Stipulation number 2, no parking signs shall be installed along the project's frontage on 63rd Avenue. And stipulation number 3, site driveway must be 150 feet apart from curb return, not center line of driveway. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lerma. Commissioners? Commissioner Cole?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Lerma. I only go back, I'm in my 5th year, I think. Would you say that development along Grand Avenue in Glendale, especially with the light industrial zoning, is fairly common or fairly rare over the last several years?
To the chair, Commissioner, just to clarify your question, you're asking if new development, you're talking about new development,
New development along the Grand Avenue alignment within the city of Glendale.
Understood. Through the chair, general plan designation designates most of the properties along Grand Avenue to be industrial. The goal is, or the city sees, 4Cs development along Grand Avenue to be industrial in nature. History has shown us that most of the established uses right now is industrial in nature. I believe this type of project is unique in nature, not only based on location of where it's at, it's along a major arterial road or thoroughfare. And this type of project might change the land use patterns as we go along. We might see industrial morph into more residential housing that is needed within this area.
Thank you for your answer.
Commissioners? Thank you, Mr. Lerma. Would the applicant or applicant's representative like to come forward, state your name for the record, and make any presentation?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, good evening. My name is Stephen Anderson. I'm an attorney at Gamage & Burnham. We have the privilege to represent the Veterans Community Project in this matter. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, we welcome and appreciate the staff recommendation for approval, and we've enjoyed the very close working relationship with the city on this project, and we've appreciated the community support. I do have a presentation that I can make to the Commission if you'd like. It covers some of the same territory as the staff's presentation, but in light of that support, I'm also happy to forego and simply answer offer to answer questions, whatever the commission's
Commissioners,
preference is.
anything further?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner
I'd like
Gears?
to see the layout, the landscaping and the walling for sound protection, if you got a couple slides just on that.
I do. I'm happy to do that. Let's make sure I can operate the technology first. Oh, good. With me this evening is Dennis Newcomb, who's a land use planner from our office, and then also Ben Hendershot. Ben, can you wave behind me, please? Ben is the Vice President of National Expansion for VCP. This is a photograph of the VCP project in Kansas City, Missouri. So this is an actual photograph. It is not a rendering. This is the project that the mayor actually visited and first made him enthusiastic about the VCP opportunity. And so this gives you a sense of the size of the scale of what the mayor has asked us to call quite expressly cottages. This is the site. Located at the northwest corner of 63rd and Grand. And so you can see that although the site's 10 acres, it's got an odd shape, and we don't actually plan to use for anything aside from retention purposes much at the north end of the project. But one thing we definitely like about the project is that we wrap around essentially our neighbors at the VFW post. So you can see the VFW post really right there off the northeast corner of our project. And we appreciate the Sandy Corps Post hosting us for our community meeting and all the support they've provided for the project from the get-go. Oh, yes, that's the next project. So the 50 cottages are laid out on an interior drive that runs from southeast to northwest. And I call it an interior drive because this is, in fact, a gated area of the community. And so this is a part of the project that is not going to be accessible to members of the general public. The gate's right down next to the community building that I'll talk about in a moment. You'll first notice that there are not 50 parking spaces. It won't surprise you to learn that the folks who are going to be living in this community, many of them will not own cars. And so we only have 30 spaces behind the gate because we don't need to provide any more asphalt than is necessary to service the community. There is excess parking outside the gate in the public part of the project, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So you heard the project layout of the cottages from Mr. Lerma and his presentation in terms of this color schemes and that sort of thing. Let's see. This is a more detailed examination of the community center itself, and there's the layout of the floor plan, as you can see up on the left-hand side of the drawing. This is where the staff will be. And just to clarify on the number, it's 15 maximum staff, and it is a daytime staff. So there's no overnight presence for the staff at the facility. And as Mr. Lerma mentioned, and is certainly worth emphasizing, the services provided at this project are designed to be for the residents only. We are not providing services to other veterans who may not reside within the community, although obviously the need is there. That's not part of the scope of what we do. So this really is a low traffic generator in terms of the project activity at the site. And so we think that our 2 driveways and the amount of parking that we've provided will be more than sufficient to service what we need to do. And that's why you see the stipulation about no parking out on the street itself. We don't think we're going to need even the parking that we're providing. It might be most important, and I glossed over it a little bit quickly, but Mr. Lerma did emphasize it in his presentation. The folks that we anticipate housing are transitional residents. We do not want folks living here for a long time. We expect the maximum stay to be 2 years, and we expect most stays to be 18 months or less. So we want folks who need the housing now, but we want to help them transition to something more permanent and presumably something a little bit larger. Most of the units here are intended to be occupied by just the veterans themselves, although we do, as Mr. Lerma noted, have a couple of units that do provide, and I do have floor plans for those that I can show you, capacity to bring in family members. But we expect most of the family members who are going to be at the site to be visiting, not residing on the site. This is the general plan amendment, and I think that Commissioner Cole's question was designed to indicate that the industrial demand in this area has not been entirely robust. And given our proximity to the park and the VFW post, this kind of transition to a residential use, even one that is unique, is appropriate at this particular site. And this is the PAD zoning proposed for the site. And again, as Mr. Lerma indicated, this seems to be a project that is custom made for PAD because we do have some unique things that we're doing. For example, the reduction in parking that I already mentioned. This is a color rendering of the site. You can see the dark gray box at the bottom is the community center, and you can see a lot of the community amenities are provided behind the community center. So if you're a resident, you have easy access to that, but it's not really available or visually available to members of the public who might be passing by the site on 63rd. This is really about things that will be available for the residents. In addition, you can see that when you access the residence, you do so primarily on foot. And so the residences, the cottages are aligned so that folks are walking to and from. Really not designed to be a vehicle-oriented project. So it looks very different than perhaps a suburban community might look, where every house has a driveway. These cottages don't have that kind of accessibility. That's the end of my conclusion, but the question was about what the units themselves might look like. These are the various options of the site in terms of the square footage. As Mr. Lerma indicated, each cottage is standalone, has its own kitchen, cooking facilities, has its own bathroom facilities, but it is designed to be small and transitional. Comfortable enough to get back on your feet, not comfortable to stay for a terribly long time. These are the various elevations, which were also shown, but you now have also front-facing. Each unit has a patio attached to it, and that is the private open space that you do expect as part of your PAD and landscaping requirements in the city of Glendale. So every cottage resident does have a private open space. It's obviously public-facing, but again, because it's behind the gate, it's really something that you're just going to share with the other residences of the cottages. This is the layout of the community center. So again, as you can see, quite a few offices in here for the staff that is providing services, plus a relatively large assembly area. And then I mentioned that the amenities, and these are the elevations of the community center. I don't have a specific layout of the amenities beyond this detailed site plan. Ben, is there anything that you wanted to add about the proposal? Okay. With that, thank you for the opportunity to present, and we would be happy to answer. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. I should have mentioned, we appreciate the staff recommendation for support. It does include 3 stipulations. We are in agreement with all 3 of the stipulations, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Gentlemen, anything for Mr. Anderson?
One further comment.
Commissioner Gears.
I live south of the tracks off of 61st, and when I'm a veteran, and when I first moved there 20 years ago, the train was a issue, and there's a lot of trains with homeless veterans, and a lot of them will have PSTD. What kind of soundproofing are you going to do around Grand to kind of defer the horn of the train that blows 4 times a day? That's my concern.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, very much appreciate the sensitivity of the question, and I'm going to ask Ben Hendershot to address the question. Ben, as a reminder, you need to introduce yourself and include an address for the record.
Ben Hendershot, address is 8900 Truce, Kansas City, Missouri. Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. I appreciate it and the opportunity to answer it. What I can tell you is that it is much better than what they're living with on the streets. We have other facilities in other locations outside of Kansas City, and they are also in more industrial areas. And what I can tell you is that through the transitional period of the residents that we serve, it's something we're able to work with through our residents and our case management to help them cope with and part of that transition process.
Commissioners? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I do have one speaker card from a Mr. Turbriddy? Is it Turbriddy? Sorry, I hope I didn't butcher that.
I'm sorry, I'm not that good at hearing. And I'm a veteran. I've had 3 tours in Vietnam, and this is something that's really needed, and I support it pretty much 100% on what I know now. And I think you need to remember that when we go off to combat, we don't come back the same person we were, and we need some extra help sometimes. One of the things I don't like or haven't heard probably about the plan is sometimes Grand Avenue is very noisy, and I wonder if you're going to put in a sound wall or something along the Grand Avenue side of the project to kind of quell the noise a little bit. And thank you, Glendale, for doing this. And one thing I would think with the zoning along most of Grand Avenue, I hope you wouldn't be putting like something that wouldn't be too desirable on another section of land up there, like a junkyard or something. I don't think that would be appropriate. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Commissioners, anything? Thank you, sir, for coming up. Mr. Hendershot, you might want to chat with him after the meeting to address that. Thank you. Any final closing statements from the applicant or applicant's representative? We're good? Okay. The public hearing for case number GPA 24-05 and ZON 24-10 is now closed. I will take the 2 issues separately. Do I hear a motion for GPA 24-05?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Cole,
I move to recommend approval of GPA 24-05 as written.
thank you,
Support.
sir. Commissioner Nyberg, thank you for the second. Commissioners, anything further on this case? Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve case number GPA 24-05 as written. I will now conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Crowe?
Aye.
Commissioner Cole?
Aye.
Vice Chair Nyberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Gears?
Aye.
Commissioner Hooper?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariano?
Yes.
Chairperson votes aye. Case number GPA 24-05 has been recommended for approval as written. Mr. Gruber, are there any next steps in the process?
Chair and members of the commission, your action with respect to case number GPA 24-05 is not final. Your recommendation will be forwarded to the city council.
Thank you, Mr. Gruber. Gentlemen, now do I hear a motion for ZON 24-10?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Cole.
I move to recommend approval of ZON 24-10, subject to the stipulations in the staff packet.
Second.
Support.
I do have a motion and a second. Any further comments from the commissioners? Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve ZON 24-10, subject to the stipulations as outlined by staff. I will now conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Crowe.
Aye.
Commissioner Cole.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nyberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Gears.
Aye.
Commissioner Hooper.
Aye.
Commissioner Ariano.
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Case number ZON 24-10 has been recommended for approval subject to the stipulations as outlined by staff. Mr. Gruber, what are the next steps?
Chair and commission, your action with respect to ZON 24-10, like the companion general plan amendment,
is not final and will be forwarded to the city council.
Thank you, Mr. Gruber. Our next item on the agenda is case number CUP 25-01. Ms. Castaneda will present the case.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, Commissioners. I'll be presenting conditional use permit application CUP 2501 for Veg Glendale. Today's request is for Planning Commission approval of Veg Glendale with stipulations. As shown in the vicinity map, the location of the use will be located on the northwest corner of 77th Avenue and Bell Road. This is approximately 9 miles northwest of City Hall. The property itself is zoned PAD within the North Valley Specific Area Plan. This PAD is for the Arrowhead Mall and surrounding properties. This property, as well as surrounding properties to the northwest, south, and east, are also within the same PAD designation. Properties across Bell Road to the south are within City of Peoria jurisdiction. As shown in the aerial, the site is an existing site, fully developed. The proposal is to occupy the eastern side of the existing building, as shown in the aerial. They will occupy half the suite. And just to clarify, VEG is a veterinary hospital. This wasn't clarified in the beginning. And just to provide a little bit of history, this is the old Trader Joe's site. They have since relocated to an area within the vicinity, and this new veterinary hospital will have an adjacent suite next to it, which is the existing Skechers outlet to on the western side of the building. This area is surrounded by uses that are businesses that provide retail and service uses. And just to give a little bit more of where this is located, the mall is located to the north side of this property. Some of the project details for the emergency veterinary hospital. They are proposing to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. The suite itself is about 9,700 square feet. They are proposing to have up to 20 staff members, 5 which will be on site at all times. As part of the proposal, they are proposing to modify the site in order to address the noise and odors that may be generated from the use, at which point the UDC requires noise mitigation for the walls, especially because they have an adjacent suite and sharing that wall with the other business, and the filtration systems to be modified to eliminate any odors generated by the use. As shown on the conceptual site plan, just to clarify where the location is, it is outlined in red. The access points for the site itself has direct access to Bell Road to the south, as well as 2 access points within the inner mall ring road to the north. And the main access will be the existing access for the building, which is on the southeast corner of the building. The applicant has met all of their public involvement requirements. Neighborhood meeting was not required given that this site is completely surrounded by commercial, at which it would not impact any surrounding neighborhoods. So during the notification process, neither staff nor the applicant received any correspondence regarding the request. Staff makes the following analysis based on the findings. The use is consistent with the general plan designation of planned commercial. The zoning designation is met. This property is parcel 11 specifically within the PAD, which requires conformance with C2 zoning, which is why we are here now for the CUP proposal for the veterinary hospital. The proposal is consistent with the intent of the C2 zone, which is to provide a array of retail and service uses. This is an additional use that will be added to the area that doesn't already exist. The business will not be detrimentally affect the public, as it will operate with an existing suite. There will be no outdoor activity related to the site. As previously mentioned, all noise and odor will be mitigated as required by the use per the Unified Development Code. The site is adequate for the use. The parking requirement is being met by both the existing Skechers as well as this site. The site itself is not being modified in any way and will remain as is for the use. The site has adequate internal and external accesses, given that there are four access points to the property itself, and there is enough ease of access to and from the property. And adequate stipulations have been added, which address any impacts related to noise and odor, and these have been added in the next few slides once I go over the stipulations. In conclusion, staff recommends the approval of CUP 2501, subject to the following stipulations. Number 1, development shall be in substantial conformance with the site plan and narrative date stamped March 5th, 2025. And the second stipulation is that the use shall meet supplemental use regulations per section 35.3103.ff of the UDC, Unified Development Code, and apply to construction plan submittal. This concludes my presentation. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, anything for Ms. Castaneda? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative like to come forward, state your name for the record, and make any presentation?
Good evening. My name is Samantha Fishbone. I work for VEG, and I'm happy to kind of go over who we are with you guys. So, per the slide, so VEG, we are a emergency animal hospital. Emergency is all we do. So we are a 24/7, 365 animal hospital. What makes us unique to other people is that when you call, you speak to the doctor right away. You stay with your pet the entire time. We're open concept. You sit on the floor with your pets. We find ways to say yes. We were founded back in 2014. We have 100 hospitals nationwide, including 3 here in Arizona. My voice, sorry. 2 of which are in Phoenix, 1 of which is in Tucson. So our hospitals, here's an example of what our hospitals look like. Again, all open concept. We use the highest level of technology to handle emergencies, including radiology suites, surgery suites, and in-house diagnostics. And all our hospitals are built out with the highest end finishes, custom cabinetry, Italian flooring, and exposed ceilings. So here's a few questions. So what services you provide? We are purely ER urgent care only. We do not do any spays, borders, vaccines, neuters of any kind. So we actually partner with all the local GPs in the community. There is no overnight boarding. While we are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the only animals that stay on overnight are under the care of a doctor. We do, which we'll get into next slide, soundproof all our locations, and we treat all household animals, the majority of which are cats and dogs, but we'll also see reptiles, rabbits, guinea pigs, etc. So for the noise mitigation, so we implement noise mitigation measures to ensure that we'll have no adverse effects on anyone else. So basically, to give an example, we use the levels anticipated to be 90 decibels. We actually ensure that up to 95% covered. That's with including insulation, things like that as such. We actually are located in the base of several luxury towers throughout the country, including New York City, Boston, Miami. We are, located next to lots of grocery stores, restaurants, things as such, and there's never been any issues whatsoever. So then for odor mitigation, so we also use a certain level of HVAC with a positive and negative pressure system. This ensures that there is never any odor within the space or the surrounding areas. All our floor materials are fully washable, impervious. We use porcelain, ceramic tiles, industrial grade. All waste mitigation is handled per industry standard. So anything that kind of is like whether it's, the needles are all handled through industry standard, and so on and so forth. So I'm happy to kind of answer detailed questions if you guys have.
Commissioners? Thank you.
Okay.
I do not have any speaker cards for this case. So the public hearing for case number CUP 25-01 is now closed. Do I hear a motion for CUP 25-01?
Chair,
Commissioner Hooper,
I move to move for approval of CUP 25-01, subject to the stipulations noted in the packet.
thank you, Commissioner Hooper. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Gears. Are there any comments or discussions from the commission on CUP 25-01? Okay, gentlemen, I have a motion and a second to approve case number CUP 25-01, subject to the stipulations outlined by staff. I will now conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Crowe?
Aye.
Commissioner Cole?
Aye.
Vice Chair Nyberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Gears?
Aye.
Commissioner Hooper?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariano?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Case number CUP 25-01 has been recommended for approval, subject to the stipulations as outlined by staff. Mr. Gruber, what are the next steps?
Chair and Commission, your action with respect to CUP 25-01 is final, subject to a written appeal received within 15 days.
Thank you, Mr. Gruber. Our next agenda item is case number CUP 25-04. Ms. Schwimmer will present the case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here tonight to present the Base Comprehensive Sign Program through Conditional Use Permit number CUP 2504. The purpose of a Comprehensive Sign Program, or CSP, is to provide a consistent theme for all signs within a development that may exceed the standards required by the Unified Development Code. As we progress through the presentation, you will see signs that both meet and exceed the requirements of the UDC. All comprehensive sign proposals are required to be presented to and considered for approval by the Planning Commission. Therefore, this request is for approval of the base CSP as applied for by Julie Kulka of Air Park Signs on behalf of the owner, Via West Group, Base Phase 1 owner. The development named the base is south and east of Luke Air Force Base at the southwest corner of Litchfield Road and Super Sabre Street. It is approximately 10 miles west of City Hall. It is an 83-acre parcel that was annexed into the city in 2013 as part of a larger 167-acre site. The parcel was zoned PAD with ZON 2205 by the Base North PAD, and the southern portion was split off and is governed by a separate document, the Base South PAD. With the exception of the Base South, the subject parcel is surrounded by Maricopa County land. You can see Luke Air Force Base in the north. As briefly mentioned earlier, a comprehensive sign program can deviate from the standards set forth in the Unified Development Code. I've provided here a side-by-side comparison of several changes that the applicant is requesting. First, the UDC allows up to 8 monument signs along the Litchfield Road property line at a maximum of 14 feet in height and 110 square feet in area. The applicant is only requesting 1 monument sign, but at a height of 20 feet, the sign area equals 104 square feet. Second, the UDC allows wall signs at a rate of 1.75 square feet per 1 linear foot of business frontage. Signs are allowed on each elevation, but the aggregate total of all signs cannot exceed a maximum of 500 square feet for buildings over 80,000 square feet in area. The applicant proposes wall signs for tenants on each elevation to be in proportion to the size of the building. For example, the largest building is almost 310,000 square feet of combined office and warehouse space. They will be allowed up to 2,520 square feet of tenant wall signs. Note that this is approximately a 4-to-1 ratio to the UDC standard. A visual representation of the previous slide shows that removal of the base logo and 2 tenant panels would make the sign an allowance through the UDC, but the corporate branding enhances the identity of the development and provides interest in the added colors. With building heights between 45 and 50 feet, a 20-foot tall monument sign is not out of proportion. For the wall signs, the CSP proposes 8 signs per building, 2 of which you can see here in yellow above the building entries. Conversely, the UDC only allows up to 500 square feet of signs per building. Assuming that area would be divided amongst 8 signs, the blue highlights emphasize what the 75% reduction would look like, as does this sign. Additionally, the site plan estimates 12 directional signs that meet the requirements of the UDC and complement the design of the monument sign. Tenants will also be allowed to add window clings in addition to the wall signs previously discussed. The applicant has determined that window clings shall be limited to a maximum of 25% of visible area, which is even less than the 30% allowed by the UDC. The applicant has met all of the public notification requirements. No neighborhood meeting was required, and only 2 residents responded to the mailing. 1 response was in favor, and the other took the opportunity to voice an opposition, not of the signs themselves, but of the development as a whole. These responses are detailed in the citizen participation final report. Based on the information presented, staff has made the following analysis. First, the proposed comprehensive sign program is consistent with the general plan designation of light industrial in that a designation change is not required. It is also consistent with the zoning of district of PAD because the base north PAD actually stipulates that a comprehensive sign program will be submitted that establishes a unified theme in color, fonts, materials, and size relative to the buildings within the development. Second, it is not detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of the public because the proposed signs will be located entirely within the bounds of the property. They will not emit noise and will be internally lit, minimizing glare to traffic. Third, the 83-acre site is adequate to accommodate the proposed increase in monument sign height and wall sign area. All sign locations adhere to established setbacks and view triangles. Fourth, site access and internal circulation are not proposed to change as a result of the adoption of this CSP. The directional signs will in fact aid in on-site circulation. And finally, adequate stipulations that you will see on the following slide are proposed for approval. As a result of these findings, staff recommends approval of CUP 2504 subject to the following stipulations. 1, development shall be in substantial conformance with the base CSP, date stamped February 28, 2025, and subject to sign permit approval by the Development Services Department. Second, sign types not identified nor expressly prohibited within the base CSP will be evaluated by the current City of Glendale sign standards. Chairman, Commissioners, this concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners,
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chair Nyberg.
I don't require this, or I don't remember the specific requests from the Luke Air Force Base. Have we approached them? Have they approved this application? Or maybe I'm not remembering the process exactly, but I think they have, they need to review this at some point, correct?
Through the chair, Luke Air Force Base, or through the public participation process, Luke Air Force Base was added to the recipient list, so they had ample time to review and provide comment. No comments were received.
Thank you.
Commissioners? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative please come forward, state your name for the record, and make your presentation?
Good evening, Gretchen Wild, Air Park Signs and Graphics. If you have any questions, you feel free to ask me, but we tried to keep the signs to a minimum and let this signage for the individual tenants be sort of the major impact to the property instead of a bunch of monuments along the street.
Commissioners, anything for Gretchen? Thank you.
Thank you.
That was easy. I don't have any speaker cards. Are there any members here that would like to speak on this case? Sure.
My name is Rodney Bowden. I'm the developer for Via West Group on the project.
Address.
2390 East Camelback Road, Suite 305, Phoenix, Arizona. Firstly, let me apologize for my dress. I spent most of the day outside, and so didn't have an opportunity to change. Apologies. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the staff of Glendale for all their help getting us to this point and on a quick timeline. We are finishing the project, as some of you may know, and the sign plan took a little time to get through the review process as we had to make a few changes, and we're very pleased to be here today. Thank you for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions on the project if you have them.
Commissioners? Thank you, sir. We do have a great staff, as a matter of fact. Okay, the public hearing for case number CUP 25-04 is now closed. Do I hear a motion?
Chairman,
Commissioner Gears,
I'll move to approve CPU 25-4 per the findings and subject to the stipulations contained in the staff's report.
thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Support.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nyberg. Are there any further comments from the commissioners on CUP 25-04? If not, I have a motion and a second to approve CUP 25-04, subject to the stipulations outlined by the staff. I will now conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Crowe?
Aye.
Commissioner Cole?
Aye.
Vice Chair Nyberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Gears?
Aye.
Commissioner Hooper?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariano?
Simone, yes.
Chair votes aye. Okay, case number CUP 25-04 has been recommended for approval subject to the stipulations outlined by staff. Mr. Gruber, what are the next steps?
Chair and Commission, your action with respect to CUP 25-04 is final, subject to a written appeal received within 15 days.
Thank you, Mr. Gruber. Ms. Perry, is there any other business?
Chairperson, Commissioner, there are none.
Are there any planning staff reports?
Also, there are none.
Are there any commission comments or suggestions? Commissioners? Thank you, gentlemen. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, the next regular meeting of the Planning Commission will be held on May 22nd at 6 p.m. here at the Glendale Civic Center. If there's no further business, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.